Today we're going to learn how to pronounce the name Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. I apologize if I said that incorrectly.
Directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Villanova.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. I don't know.
Director Denis Villeneuve.
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 Director Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve. I try to say it all right. I try to say it right all the time. I never get it right.
Directed by Denis Villeneuve.
I can't believe the f***ing text-to-speech bot pronounced Villeneuve better than, like, any reviewer. She can't even get, like, didn't.
Hi, my name is Denis Villeneuve.
This man, this Quebecois legend, Denis Villeneuve, okay? That's how much I respect him now. That I'm, like, not even making fun of Quebec. Think about that.
Denis Villeneuve continues to be one of the best filmmakers working today.
Oh, is that how you say his first name?
I think so.
Anyway, who cares what the his name is pronounced? He's a great filmmaker.
Sometimes I go to movies and I wonder, where are the masters? Where are the new Scorseses? Where are the new Spielbergs? Then I see movies like Arrival, Sicario, Enemy, Prisoners, Incendies, Blade Runner 2049. Denis Villeneuve is a new master. He's someone that we can experience today and watch his career flourish, and I just can't wait to see what else he does.
There are few directors that I respect as much as Denis Villeneuve. For the past decade, he's been consistently making thought-provoking films that challenge us both cerebrally and emotionally.
This movie just blew my fucking mind! Denis Villeneuve, he fucking did it!
Denis Villeneuve has moved up the filmmaking food chain in pretty quick succession. In the space of just 8 years, he released 7 films, which followed a clear forward trajectory, moving up step by step in budget and scope to become one of contemporary cinema's major filmmakers.
The man is a living legend. He's got such a fantastic filmography.
He's Canadian.
It's very, very nice.
Several Canadians have risen to the top of the film industry, but many have left Canada to pursue their careers in Hollywood, following the example of James Cameron. French-Canadian filmmaker Denis Villeneuve is different, and he still calls Montreal home.
You seem to have the discipline, the vocabulary of actual epic filmmaking, that kind of grand proscenium frame that's just presented. It strikes me that in Dune, you went to location. That looked like a pretty hostile filming environment.
I can cope pretty easily with heat, and it's gonna sound strange for a Canadian, but having shot in the cold is something that is a killer.
As a Canadian, I agree totally. I hate to admit how much I don't like shooting in the cold.
The first thing he said was, in my Blade Runner, it snows. I'm Canadian. I need to work in an environment that I understand and that I know is real and truthful to me. And for me, that's snow. And I was immediately relieved. And I thought, okay, this guy's got it.
Montreal is like its home, and there's a beautiful creativity there that you can find in theater, in the dance community, and even in restaurants. There's like a freedom there that I found nowhere else.
I think Denis is a very special human being and is a very collaborative director. Every day you go to set and you feel like we're all ready to throw our ideas on the table, explore what we're doing at that time.
Action! Go, 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 go.
He's a nice, warming, caring, funny, intelligent person that reminding them the joy of why we do what we do, which is to imagine and to create something that doesn't exist.
The Mandarin was a struggle for me. I remember I was really freaking out. And Denis, I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, but da-da-da. And he was like, you must calm down. You must trust me.
He has this fantastic way of making you feel like he doesn't really know what's going on sometimes. He'd be like, I haven't had enough coffee today, my friends. Sorry, I'm a little f***ed up. I need to blah, 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 blah. And we'd always be like, Denis, do you know what you're doing?
He is such a brilliantly collaborative director, and he brings you into the process. And so by faking that he doesn't know what's going on, he kind of gets you to offer your opinion. You're like, oh wow, this movie would fall apart without me. Oh my God, you know. And then when you see the movie, you're like, he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time.
He is a director who really understands how to create the most creative
set, the ambiance for people to be at their best.
To see him with the others just having a good old laugh between shots and takes, it just makes it feel like family working with him.
Such a fun time. I could not stop laughing together.
You don't know if that's always going to work, because we've all done movies where you had a really good time and then you see the movie and you're like, he has this great way of kind of elevating everybody and lifting morale, but when it comes down to scenes, there's something that shifts.
Denis is so thoughtful with everything that he does. I don't think there's any part of anything that he hasn't thought through like a million times.
He was so giving, looking at me, analyzing, like, you are Duncan Idaho, Jason.
Wow, have I never seen a director who treated every single actor as the star of the movie. There's no hierarchy. There's so much respect for what everybody is doing. A magical environment to work in. True, like, genius. How do you have that much information in your brain to build these worlds and still so much humility and admiration for the people that help you make them? What an outstanding type of leader that is.
I put a red tape on the floor. I said I don't want no mad narcissistic ego on this side, okay? There's people that have bad reputations. It's too tough to make a film. The more I think artists are interesting, the more humble they are very often.
He's fantastic. I really enjoyed working with him, obviously. You knew you were done when he would come over and he'd say, I love it. I deeply, deeply, deeply love it. And if you said, I would love to do it one more time, he'd say, okay, but I love it. I deeply, deeply, deeply love it. He's from Montreal. That's my Montreal accent. Yeah.
The Canadian filmmaker's interest in movies was piqued as a child. He began making short films when he was in high school, where he also developed an early love of science fiction. He began studying science, but later changed his focus to film when he moved to the University of Quebec.
Can you just start it out with how you ended up where you are today?
I studied film in Montreal, and I did something that was very important in my studies, which was to spend half a year around the world alone with a digital camera, doing documentaries for a French branch of CBC.
After winning some awards, he began working with the National Film Board of Canada, where he established a working relationship with producer Roger Frappier, who developed films by emerging directors. The NFB funded his first 30-minute short film, which showed a lot of promise. Frappier then produced Cosmos, a collection of 6 different shorts made by 6 young directors, which included Villeneuve, as well as his future collaborator André Turpin. Following this, Villeneuve wrote a screenplay with a contained story about a woman who is thrust into an existential crisis after surviving a car accident. Frappier came on board to produce the film. André Turpin was brought on board to serve as the cinematographer. This collaboration established a trait which would continue throughout his later movies, an openness to letting DPs bring their own photographic sensibilities to the project, while at the same time always firmly maintaining his own strong perspective on the script.
Like any director, I guess the relationship with the cinematographer is the most intimate and precious. It's like your eyes and your movement and your rhythm. And
but it's really important then to be working with somebody that has a sort of similar sensibility then, really.
It's like a dance, you know.
We all know the Villeneuve touch by now. The moody atmosphere, the minimalist practical camera work, the intense explorations into cycles of violence. In short, this is a director who seemed to have a conscious aesthetic and a distinct cinematic voice from the off.
With Denis' films, it gives me a chance to play with something, and it's very hard to find the word for this, but I would call it brainstemmy images. Film is rich in these sensory moments.
And the Oscar goes to Dune.
Denis, merci du fond du cœur. This is a tribute to you. Thank you.
Since he's from Quebec and studied filmmaking at the Université de Québec à Montréal, his early works were all French language films. His 1998 directorial debut is an example of this. That film's English title is August 32nd on Earth.
August 32nd got into the Cannes Film Festival and premiered in the Uncertain Regard section, which he followed with a string of Canadian medium-budget films.
The 2 first movies I made, specifically the second one, Maelström, was quite arrogant, disconnected. It was, at the time, the most successful things I'd done, And for me, in the same time, a big failure because I felt that the movie didn't convey what I wanted to talk about. That's why I stopped. Because after Maelström, I said, I'm not a filmmaker. I just want someone that wants to show off with a camera, and I can't use the language properly, and I don't know what I'm doing really. So I stopped.
Villeneuve, disappointed with his attempts at feature films, took a 9-year break as a stay-at-home dad. He vowed to return when he was ready to make a film he could be proud of. That film ended up being Polytechnique.
The Montreal massacre that inspired Polytechnique actually predates Columbine, and the shooter was a vocal anti-feminist who only targeted women.
Les féministes ont toujours eu le don de me faire rager.
Polytechnique retells the real tragedy of the 1989 Polytechnique massacre from several fictional points of view. However, the one real character is the shooter himself, and the film prominently features his suicide letter, in which he lays out the reasons for his killings and why he targeted women specifically.
Later to be known as the Montreal Massacre, the 1989 real-life incident left 14 women dead, 10 women injured, and also 4 men were hurt.
It seems that Villeneuve was powerfully drawn to a real-life event that expressed themes he would come back to again and again, specifically the societal effects of male violence, with a focus on how women find or don't find hope in the face of it.
Denis was attending classes just a few kilometers away when Marc Le Pen entered a cold Polytechnique armed with a rifle.
I realized that it's an event that when it happened, it was so horrific that I shut down and I didn't went into the emotions and I didn't explore what it meant to me.
The events of that evening have been etched into the minds of Canadians, and especially Quebecers, ever since. 20 years later, Denis chose to depict that tragic December night in what would turn out to be his most controversial film.
The thing is that I was approached by a young actress that wanted to create a project in the memory of the victims from the students' point of view, because students were judged by the way they reacted. It's an event that created a lot of pain.
Polytechnique, the Massacre of Montreal, you were driving that. Denis Villeneuve talked about that you had this idea. Right?
Maybe because I was really young and too naive to think about all the consequences that it could have. If the movie wouldn't have been well received. That's the period I'm the most proud of.
I think I'd say this is the first success, truly, from Denis Villeneuve. Polytechnique is top notch. And I can see this being the film that I think calls Hollywood to pay attention. Like, hey, this Denis Villeneuve guy, he got a lot of great potential.
I learned so much during that movie now. Maybe it's a movie I should do again later in my life when I want to be more in control of what I'm doing.
In making this movie, he brought his name back onto the map. Without the success of Polytechnique, we would not have gotten a 6-year back-to-back run of nothing but widely acclaimed films that spanned through most of the 2010s.
Mes amours, où commence votre histoire? Moi, je dis que votre histoire commence avec une promesse. Celle de briser le fil de la colère.
Parenthood and the generational ripples of violence remain central in Villeneuve's fourth film, the French and Arabic language Incendies, in which Canadian twins John and Simon discover their mother's past after she dies.
Ouverture du testament devant ses 2 enfants. Jeanne, cette enveloppe est destinée à votre père. Retrouve-le et remets-lui cette enveloppe. Simon, cette enveloppe est destinée à votre frère. Retrouve-le et remets-lui cette enveloppe.
So they have a brother, and then they have a father that they don't know about. Jesus, she's left like a freaking puzzle piece for them.
So Simon is reluctant to do this and just wants to bury his mother. Jeanne, on the other hand, is determined to find out the truth. So she embarks on this journey back to the Middle East to find her father, to find her brother, and at the same time she uncovers this tragic backstory about her mother, which she never knew, which you also get to see through flashbacks. It's... oh
man. This is... I didn't bring I'm not prepared. I was not prepared.
I saw that play, Incendies, written by Wajimawa, that is really a masterpiece about how anger is given from one generation to the other. I wrote the screenplay for a long period of time. As I was writing Incendies, I was offered Polytechnique, and the way the things were, I did Polytechnique first, but I was doing both movies at the same time.
Parfois, il vaut mieux peut-être ne pas tout savoir.
Now that's all I can really say about the film without giving away any spoilers, which I'm not going to do here. It's just a brilliantly constructed mystery thriller, and as the pieces of the puzzle all fall into place and you begin to see the larger picture, it is shocking.
Whoa, wait, what? I'm sweating right now.
Villeneuve actually does say that it's a dark film and it's all about the chain that hate creates, and the only way to break that chain is by love. Sounds a bit sappy, I know, but I absolutely agree with him.
Jesus, I feel really broken here.
I really don't have any words to describe how gut-wrenching this is. And as the credits rolled, I remember needing a moment to stomach all that I had just seen.
This was just, the storytelling is so...
This was the film that gained him international recognition on a whole new level. It was nominated for the Academy Award for International Feature, and it led to him being able to make the American films that he's making now.
Not only did Incendies impress the award-giving bodies of Canada and the US, but it also impressed France, since it was nominated for the César Awards. The British were impressed too, since they included the film for a nomination at the BAFTA Awards. The film also made the rounds in various major film festivals worldwide, as well as cited by many critics groups in different countries.
That's where it's the first time I felt home doing Incendies. The first movie that I said, I don't know what the other people will think, if it's boring for them or whatever, but I feel that that's the kind of very close. It's by far one of the closest movie I've made to myself.
Up to this day, as much as I love almost everything Villeneuve has done, I still see Incendies as one of his best films. A dramatic masterpiece that leaves you thinking about its themes and its characters long after it's all over. It's a movie that definitely deserves a lot more recognition.
Since its release, Incendies has steadily grown in popularity, and with a rating of 8.3, is the highest-ranked Canadian film on IMDb's top 250 films.
Je sais que c'est très inhabituel, mais ta mère était pas folle, Jeanne.
Who are you?
What's wrong? You're crazy.
I'm crazy!
Before moving on to Hollywood, Villeneuve did one more film in his native Canada.
Enemy.
I really liked Enemy. The split nature of identity takes literal form in Enemy, which was released after Prisoners but was shot well before it. In the film, Jake Gyllenhaal plays a boring history teacher named Adam Bell. While watching a movie one night, Adam discovers an actor who looks exactly like him, the dashing, successful Daniel St. Clair.
Wow. It's another one. Film. It's probably my favorite movie of the year. Even when I wasn't sure where it was going, I was like on edge for the entire movie. That rarely happens. It's not a literal movie. It's very abstract.
The film unfolds in such a quiet way, but it feels like a thriller. I just think it's such an intriguing little puzzle. Jake Gyllenhaal delivers what is one of his best performances throughout his whole career, and I think his work here is very underrated.
And the movie looks great. It's very drab. It takes place in Toronto unapologetically, where it's we're in Toronto. And Toronto is nothing but ugly architecture everywhere. Sorry, Toronto. But it's like endless condos that are just sort of like nameless and faceless without any kind of character. And the whole movie like looks like that.
It's the perfect setting for that movie.
It's the perfect setting. And then for those who have seen it are well aware of a nice twist ending that is a little bit of a mindfuck. I highly recommend Enemy.
What?
Yo.
What the?
Whoa. Oh, God.
Whoa, what?
What the heck? Yo, that genuinely scared me. Oh, I'm like all itchy. What the heck? So that was Enemy. Holy.
Where's my daughter?
Villeneuve broke into Hollywood with Prisoners in 2013, a frigid and shocking dramatic thriller in which Keller Dover, played by Hugh Jackman, tortures the man Alex, who Keller believes kidnapped his daughter.
Denis' first film was cinematographer Roger Deakins, one of the best crime thrillers of the last 20 years, Prisoners. This is a film about families being ripped to shreds, a father being pushed beyond his psychological limits, and a detective hell-bent on solving a case no matter what the cost.
That was an interesting project. Obviously, we had met that time at the Academy.
For Incendies when you got nominated.
I heard that you would be coming to America to do the film Prisoners. Our agent sent the script over. And I think if I'd read that script, not knowing you were going to direct it, I would have really had doubts about working on it.
It could have gone anyway.
Yeah, but knowing your work, I felt, having just had those brief conversations with you, I knew where you were going right then without you having to really explain it.
It wasn't until Denis Villeneuve came on board that I said yes to it. I had been aware of the script for about a year, but I could see the movie going in a more generic thriller version, and I could see something that would make you think long after the credits roll. And as soon as I saw Incendies, I literally was like that. And as soon as I met Denis, that was it for me.
I was offered the part before Denis was attached with another director. It didn't really interest me. And then, as Hugh was saying, I too met Denis. This is a beautiful human being, a very, very special man. And with his decency, I felt I could take his hand.
Only work with a director that's in love with you and that you're in love with.
Everyone should work with a director with a French accent, by the way.
Viola Davis is a super humble actress, one of the strongest artists I ever worked with. The more I think artists are interesting, the more humble they are very often. Like someone like Hugh Jackman.
Prisoners is the #1 movie on Netflix right now. I mean, that movie's so brilliant.
I'm really proud of it. I mean, it's awesome that it's come back. I kind of love that.
When you think back on that production, what's the first thing that sort of comes to mind?
I remember there's a scene I have with Paul Dano where I'm interrogating him. Hit him up.
Oh no! No!
Oh hell!
No, dude, no. You're gonna kill him.
Oh my god, he's gonna kill him! I'm
watching.
Watch. I am watching.
Baby, focus.
I am focused.
There's a scene in the bathroom.
I was gonna ask you about that, yeah.
With the hammer. The take before, I thought we got it. I must admit, and by the way, I'd run a marathon to get to there. Exhausted, and I was sure Denis was coming over to me to say, man, that was the one. We got it, thank you. And he came over and he goes, I really need you to go there, man. And that wasn't there, and he goes, oh no, that's not there.
Tell me! Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter?
So the next take is the one that's in the movie. A great director who knows when the right moment and right scene is to go for more.
Yeah, and how Paul Dano has ever spoken to me again, I have no idea.
I know, I was gonna say, and then Paul Dano was carted off somewhere for help.
Yeah, luckily Hugh Jackman's like the nicest dude in the world. It's true what everybody says. He's just a super sweetie, and so if you're gonna get beaten by somebody, it's nice to have Hugh on the other end of it.
Where's my daughter?
Some masterful acting on display.
Here comes one of my favorite scenes of all time.
Why you following me?
This scene was supposed to be set under snow, but I decided that the rain will be more appropriate. As the scene will move forward, the rain will turn into snow. I inspired myself a lot from my hometown, Montreal. I thought that at that precise moment, to see that the weather, the degradation of the climate will put more pressure on the characters.
Day 6, and every day, he's wondering why I'm not there to rescue her. Do you understand that? Me, not you, but me, every day! Now why didn't you look for my daughter?
Just an absolutely incredible performance.
Don't follow me.
This is so good.
That scene gave me anxiety. I don't even want to talk anymore.
The fact that Hugh Jackman did not receive a nomination for this movie is just so tragic. He definitely gives one of the best performances of adult male grief in film.
I'm so nervous. The fuck? What is going on? I don't think I've ever been this curious to see how a film ends in my entire life.
Oh, he's got a gun. Listen to me, just shut the up for a second.
I've never been more stressed in a movie in my entire life.
Oh, we're entering the climax, bro.
Stop right now!
Oh my god, dude, this is wild.
Oh no. Oh no. I can't do this shit, bro.
I can't do this anxiety. Oh my god, dude, I can't.
Oh my gosh.
This film is amazing.
One of the greatest climaxes to a film I've ever watched.
Oh, let's go. Oh my god, that's a great fucking ending. Oh my god, that gave me chills. Oh! That might be one of the best movies I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, that's a masterpiece. That is a masterpiece of a film.
This is one of the best films I've ever seen.
I
just
love
because
the
of
twist.
the twist.
It's just right up my street, you know?
I think that was my favorite movie we watched on the channel.
I was gonna immediately say S tier movie.
Yeah.
One of my
it's up
favorites
there.
for sure. I love that movie.
Everything about it was awesome.
The director is the same director from Dune. I think I tried
And
to say
Arrival.
And Arrival. So I think I tried to say his name before and I got clowned. So not gonna do that again. Hard name to pronounce, but shout out to him.
So poignant and just interesting and a character study, and it's a lot of what does it mean, what's the line, you know, it's a Denis Villeneuve, you know, it's like fucking great.
You will not survive here. You're not a wolf. And this is the land of wolves now.
In Villeneuve's cartel thriller Sicario, Emily Blunt's FBI agent Kate Mercer isn't a parent or someone trying to define themselves in a relationship to their parents or children, which is a unique distinction in his filmography. But as the film goes on, the more it fits perfectly in Villeneuve's wheelhouse.
Sicario is a journey through darkness and through the darkest side of human beings, about how far should we go as a society to protect ourselves.
It's a gripping thriller about the drug war that the US is waging in Mexico. This is maybe Villeneuve's most underrated film.
Sicario is a powerhouse of a movie. You've got Denis Villeneuve, you've got Roger Deakins, you've got Brolin, Del Toro, and of course, Emily Blunt.
I just think it's like just a stunning piece of work.
Did you recognize that it was still something special you guys were making?
Totally, and you don't know why, and that's Denis. Denis, I think, created something where I must be slow, or I must be something that I didn't see. I finished this movie, and I go, I don't know how it's going to turn out. We watched the movie, it was like, wow, I had no idea.
Roger Deakins' cinematography, like, some of the best work that he's ever done.
Wow! Are you kidding me?
This is stunning.
This is a beautiful film.
Oh my god!
Oh shit!
FBI!
Oh! Damn, you're so friggin' lucky.
Okay, so the fastest intro of all time.
Okay, I'm hooked. This is the fastest the film's hooked me recently. What the hell is that? Dude, I'm getting like tingles and I'm scared.
Oh my god, I have like chills with this music and everything.
It's dead people in the wall. Oh my god, what are they doing to him?
Oh, the body's just like, oh, I have chills already. Oh my god.
Wow, this is like stress-inducing, but like in the best way.
Oh my god!
What is this?
What is this? I don't even know who directed this. This is nuts.
Oh my god, my heart is pounding so fast right now.
Denis Villeneuve has proven over and over that he is an absolute master of creating tension.
There are many tense moments in Sicario, but this scene is arguably the best of them. It is a precisely executed payoff after minutes of mounting tension.
Oh my god.
Gun left.
Oh,
This is mad tense. My heart's in my mouth.
The entire scene is built around a deliberate and measured pacing that gradually builds anticipation.
I love how it's slowly building this. This is a banging movie. Let's go.
I am on the edge of my seat. I haven't felt like this for a while.
Whew, man, they know how to freaking build a scene in this. This is so good.
Wow. Oh, baby, that was insane.
Yeah, there's something like top tier about this movie.
I can't explain.
Yeah.
But this film was sick, man. I don't even care.
What a haunting way to end it.
Wow, that's powerful. Ooh, what a way to end that.
This is a masterpiece.
Man. Oh, it's him! I didn't know it was him! He's such a good director. That makes so much sense now.
The director of this was the director of Prisoners that we watched with that ending.
Oh my god.
I'm Colonel G.T. Weber from the Intelligence. Pack your bags. You're at the top of everyone's list when it comes to translations. Priority 1. What do they want? Where are they from?
Arrival. I don't know anything about this, except it is by a local Quebecois director.
That's the same guy that did Dune.
The plot is about a mysterious alien invasion and about linguist Louise Banks trying to decipher an alien language.
This is one of my favorite movies ever, and this movie just captures what Villeneuve does best. He creates a visual and auditory experience for you that heightens the eventual emotional impact and gives the whole film a sense of discovery.
Mike, what did you think of Arrival?
Well, Jay, I thought this movie sucked. The aliens never blowed anything up. No, I love this movie. I thought it was excellent, of course. It's like that sci-fi movie I've always wanted to see. And I think it's the closest thing to something that I'll ever get in my lifetime.
It was a long development process, but ultimately very much thanks to this filmmaker and this actress that the feeling, the soul, was communicable on screen.
There's just something about it. You know, there was a tone about the script.
Great lead performance. I thought Amy Adams was great.
Of course.
Amy Adams is just so brilliantly subtle. It's still disturbing that she was not nominated for the Academy Award.
Her job as a professor, linguistics professor. She's walking past all the students in like a lobby union area, and they're all like watching, glued to the TV, something's going on. She goes in the classroom, there's 4 students in there, and their phones start blowing up, and they're like, can you turn on the TV?
Is it extraterrestrials?
This is worldwide. It is happening right now.
Shows the TV, doesn't show it.
Yeah.
Shows her looking at it, and then it's like, loved it.
It's so crazy that it's just on her the whole time.
They don't do the, here comes the ships, they're landing, and all the people like look up in the street, and all cars are crashing into each other.
We don't even really get a good view of the ship until she does when they're flying in with the helicopter.
Wow. Oh man, I love movies like these.
Like that thing isn't cool enough. Let's throw in some rolling clouds as well.
God.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love the design of it. It had it's not the conventional sort of spaceship-y looking, because there's no reason for it to have an aesthetic that makes sense to us.
This film is also a masterclass in suspense. I mean, Villeneuve gives like 5 minutes to this moment where they're just slowly approaching the ship, and you just take in the suspense and the awe of that moment with incredible sound mixing, beautiful cinematography.
Oh yeah, I want to touch it.
What is it made out of?
Okay, also, how cool is it though? It's like you're with them underneath it, and I'm like, I want to touch it, and then the director like shows them touching it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's like he knows what he's doing or something.
I don't know if I've ever felt so awe-stricken at a movie. There's just such a palpable sense of discovery, of venturing into the unknown.
Dr. Banks? Are you insane?
Now that's a proper introduction.
Oh, awesome.
The look of the aliens themselves, I thought were great.
Yeah, as long as they did something interesting with them, and then they did.
So many aliens just look humanoid, so it was nice to see them that feels legitimately alien.
To create a new life form. The dream became quickly a nightmare, because it's like, to try to create something that will feel new, that will create an appropriate emotional response in the audience. I thought it was pretty tricky.
Is that their writing?
Shit.
Their writing is semisiographic. It doesn't represent sound. There's no forward or backward direction.
Oh.
Imagine you wanted to write a sentence using 2 hands starting from either side.
Uh-huh.
You would have to know each word you wanted to use, as well as how much space that it would occupy.
Oh my god.
I'm so into this right now. Jesus
It's
Christ.
really cool.
With the final twist in this movie, just one of the most impactful moments I've ever witnessed in cinema. This is my favorite twist out of any movie I've ever seen because of the emotional weight it carries. And I think so many twists risk the danger of drawing attention to themselves and how cool it was and how much I didn't expect it, but few actually have this impact.
I will never forget what you said.
Wow. Wow.
There's a lot of emotional elements to it.
The emotional elements are handled in a way that feel genuinely emotional and not like manipulative and saccharine.
Right.
It's really rare that a movie is as rigorous intellectually as it is emotional. Denis has a really, really astute intellect.
It's like a hippy-dippy world peace movie at the end, which I was okay with.
No one's making quips, there's no dumb jokes.
There's no dumb jokes, and that's all the stuff that I just completely savored.
Yeah.
It's not Randy Quaid drunkenly flying into a laser beam.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
It's about words and communication, and that to me was pretty solid sci-fi.
This movie wrecked me. Like, I think I need to go just like cry for a little bit.
That was phenomenal. My mind is kind of blown.
By this time, Denis already cemented his place in Hollywood, and this film catapulted him more to stardom when it was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars in 2017.
Here are the nominees for Achievement in Sound Editing. Arrival, Sylvain Bellemare.
Arrival, Sylvain Bellemare.
This award by far is a collective award made by people from many countries around the world, led by the Quebec team. Salut Montréal.
Shot in Quebec, Arrival became Villeneuve's biggest hit at the time, grossing over $200 million worldwide, and nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director.
Yeah, he bounces around genres pretty well.
He's one of the best filmmakers working right now, I think. And now he's doing the new Blade Runner, which I'm not a big fan of Blade Runner, but I like him, so we'll see.
He's a good candidate for that.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it.
That is Blade Runner 2049. What a beautiful film that is. And you have 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, do you look at that kind of thing? Do you care about that kind of thing?
You hear about it.
You hear about it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy for the filmmaker. He put a lot of work into this. I'm very happy to see that it's turned out this way.
Well, here it is. An R-rated $150 million sequel to one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made. When I heard they were making a sequel, I was like, the only way that would work is if they got Denis Villeneuve, Roger Deakins, Hampton Fancher, Harrison Ford, and Ryan Gosling. Well, here we are.
I just witnessed a modern classic.
Blade Runner 2049 not only surpassed Ridley Scott's original, but also it is the greatest sequel ever made.
I don't know, I haven't seen other reviews of this. I have no idea what the consensus is. I'm going to say it's one of the best sequels ever made.
2049 is one of the best films of the year. It's one of the best sequels ever made.
I think Blade Runner 2049 is one of the greatest films ever made.
Sweet popsicle Christ, I can't believe this is a real movie, and I will watch this movie for the rest of my life.
Goddamn. What a great accomplishment.
What a great accomplishment
that team was.
Who would have thought that a Blade Runner sequel movie in 2017 would be a good idea?
First of all, what a miracle it is that this movie exists and is really good. Hollywood produced a sequel to a groundbreaking, visually stunning, thought-provoking sci-fi classic, and not only was it not dumb bullshit, but it can stand toe-to-toe with the original in many ways. And it's clear that Denis Villeneuve is maybe one of the only directors, if not the only director, who could have pulled this off. This is just one of the most stunning-looking movies that exists.
It's one of these films that just gets everything right. The script, the production design, the editing, the cinematography, the lighting, the costumes, you name it, there's no weak link.
I've talked to a bunch of Blade Runner fans who didn't want this movie to exist, and then after it came out, a lot of them were like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, I think I like this one even better than the original. Original Blade Runner was their favorite movie ever, and they were like, holy shit, I think I might even like this one better. I mean, that's a testament to how incredible Denis is.
I can appreciate this movie for the work of art that it is. It is unique. I really like this filmmaker.
Basically, you start watching this movie and you are in that world. And it is a great world, and it might be one of my favorite reboots I have ever seen. I'm getting a little choked up here because
I'm just so blown the away. I just witnessed a real piece of art, and this movie just washed over me, man. Hell.
I thought it was awesome. I was blown away by it. Epic, huge. It's a cathedral of a movie.
Villeneuve stated in an interview, I said to myself, if there's a moment where I'm going to do a movie of this scale, it needs to be something that matters to me. He thought that the only way to make the movie was to accept that it was just a gesture of love toward the original, but he knew that it would always be compared to the one that came before it.
People are saying this is as much a classic as the original. A lot of praise actually for Harrison Ford's performance. What did you make of that?
I think Harrison Ford is great, but I think the real key performance here is Denis Villeneuve, who is the director who, for my money, has done an absolutely brilliant job. Ridley Scott's Blade Runner had visual awe, and thanks to some fantastic cinematography by Roger Deakins, this is a film that takes your breath away visually. You look at it and it's spectacular. It depicts a world that appears to go on forever, that's completely immersive, that you can totally believe in. I mean, it's one of those sort of things, though, you can't say no to sort of the opportunity.
Denis Villeneuve, cinematographer Roger Deakins, and 2 storyboard artists spent weeks closed off in a hotel room in Montreal, dreaming up the world of 2049 and how to display it. Villeneuve had said that it was in these meetings that the style of Blade Runner 2049 was born.
I mean, it was an insane experience. It was pretty amazing experience. I mean,
to design the movie from the storyboards by your side, it's insane the amount of things I learned. Insane.
Again, I could say exactly the same. So I love working with you because I mean, we do have a similar sensibility and a feel for things, I think.
God, Roger Deakins is cool. He shot the sequel, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and I'm not limiting that statement to cinema.
And the Oscar goes to Roger A. Deakins, Blade Runner 2049.
This is the first Oscar and 14th nomination for Roger A. Deakins.
Hey, thank you.
The rain is a defining feature of the original Blade Runner, and one that has had widespread impact on later films. The crew of 2049 couldn't just take the rain from the first film and apply it to the sequel for the sake of getting that Blade Runner look. The progression of climate issues and pollution over 30 years has had an effect on the weather, and the film reflects that. We see LA strangely covered in snow. This also has its roots in the personal experience of Denis Villeneuve. The Canadian director said, as much as the first movie had an atmosphere of constant rain, in this one, it would be colder. Basically, you could say that the first movie was made by a man from London, England, and the second one was made by somebody from Montreal, Canada.
There will be snow. There will be winter will be present. And I mean, as a Canadian, there's one thing I know about is Ridley's universe through the lens of something that is so familiar to me. It helped me to make it my own.
Denis Villeneuve is continuing to prove himself to be one of the best directors working today. This is the type of movie that is going to make future filmmakers.
The director of this, he got a perfect track record, yo. His movies is flames. Flames, Arrival, Prisoners, all them joints, flames, yo.
It delivers when, by all rights, it shouldn't have. This should not be as phenomenal a picture as it is. Right now, it's absolutely my favorite film of the year. It is an absolute masterwork. It gets a 10 out of 10 from me.
This is the type of movie that reminds people why movies exist, and I loved every single frame. I'm going to give Blade Runner 2049 an A+.
Okay.
Holy shit, I have like full body goosebumps.
That's really good.
Yeah, so far, I mean...
yeah.
Dune came out. We all watched it. We're all gaga over it.
And the Oscar goes to Dune. Dune. Dune.
Dune, Greg Fraser.
And the Oscar goes to Dune.
Denis, thank you for allowing us to dream.
And the Oscar goes to Hans Zimmer. Dune.
Hans Zimmer could not be here tonight. His otherworldly soundscape for Dune was the culmination of 3 decades of musical innovation we accept on his behalf.
When I decided to do Dune, I wanted really to create a new soundscape. I was in need of a composer. I asked Hans Zimmer if he knew Dune, the book, and Hans answered was that probably one of his favorite books of all time, and it was one of his biggest dreams to score Dune. So his answer was a big yes.
I knew the book so well. He knew the book so well. We knew our subject. So now it was figuring out how we were going to interpret something that we truly loved and admired.
When asked how he came up with the score for Dune, Hans Zimmer said, "Denny and I spent a long evening in a great restaurant in Montreal, with just the right amount of wine for me to understand perfectly what he meant."
He came to Montreal and we had a nice dinner. We had a discussion about, is it a good idea to try to bring to life one of your most precious dreams? Is it a good idea to try to do that? And we were not sure of the answer, but we did it.
He did tons of experiments. He created even instruments. He kept saying to me, that music is not from our world. It needs to come from another time, another planet.
This soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtrack is awesome.
The bagpipe you hear is really my guitarist Guthrie Garvin imitating a bagpipe on his guitar. And it's not a bagpipe at all, but did you know that? It's Guthrie.
I'm speechless. What the hell are you talking about?
The sound of the bagpipe at the beginning is Guthrie playing guitar.
My bagpipe player that was playing bagpipe, you didn't use a bagpipe.
You wanted a progressive rock score.
I just love him.
You got one.
It's quite a privilege for me to work with such an artist. One of the most inspiring and powerful artistic encounter in my life is the one with Hans Zimmer. So to have the chance to work with him on Dune is like one of the big privileges of my life.
Let me kick off by just saying what a pleasure it is to meet you and get to congratulate you on your triumphant film, Dune. Love the film and truly appreciated it in the cinema with that sort of almost full body resonance that you get in the cinema to the score, to the image. And at the end of 2.5 hours, I didn't want it to end.
I decided to split the first book in 2 parts because I was feeling that from the start that it was too dense. And it's a book that takes its power into details, you know, the way Frank Herbert approached it.
Like, I was wondering, there's so much world building to set up.
I was gonna say, they said so many
it.
different names of things. Year 10,191, holy shit.
So you were 13 or 14 years old or something like that when you first came across the book.
I was kind of into sci-fi, and I was reading everything that I could find at the time, and Dune had a striking cover and the title, and I felt in love and spontaneously with it. I mean, there's something about the journey of the main character, Paul Atreides, all this weight on his shoulder, and then finally being able to find freedom through the contact with another culture, I thought was a beautiful idea. I was saying to myself, one day, I would love to bring this to the screen.
Cut! So far, they've used so many like dialogue that are like to the letter, and it's just like giving me goosebumps because it's even performed in the exact way that I would imagine it.
What I deeply love is that most of my first choices were available and agreed to jump in the project.
Man, the casting so far has been perfect. Having Stellan Skarsgård play the Baron.
What the?
How did it feel to step on set the first day? What was that like?
It was awe-inspiring, just because the sets were enormous. They were practically built. I think our first day was with Charlotte Rampling. We were shooting the Gum Jabbar scene. She's not here, but she had these platforms, so she was kind of floating around set. Huge respect for Charlotte. She's very nice, yet she was very intimidating.
I admire Danny enormously for making these extraordinary, big films quite intimate, because he's a very intimate person. And he's with his actors. He's like, he directed Timothée Chalamet beautifully, I thought, you know, because he's so talented, Timothée, but, you know, young actors can go all over the place. They really need focus. Yeah, he's very special, Denis Villeneuve.
I read the script when Denis called and said, you know, that he wanted me to be a part of his film.
It's a great phone call to get.
He's, I don't know, man. I don't know why he's been so kind to me.
So when he asked me to play that role, I was absolutely in shock. Being Denis Villeneuve and knowing that he's going to do something very unique with it.
You can totally see like Arrival in this. You know, like just Denis Villeneuve's like way of like showing from a distance.
Scale.
Yeah, scale. That's the word. Thank you. Everything looks so real.
Yeah.
For something that like I've never seen before in my life. Like, whoa.
Oh, that's cool. Like dragonflies.
Yeah.
I love that shot.
Look at that.
Wow, dude, that's so good.
That is, it is amazing.
So good. Yes. They nailed the motion blur. Yeah, that's so cool.
Holy shit.
That's so cool.
Oh my God. And the shield generator finally like crashes. The explosion bursts out of it. It's so cool. Dude. It's so cool.
It's so good.
And once again, it's like, it's just a good idea. It's good art direction.
Passage, cleanse the world.
What the
That's a worm.
No.
Okay. Part 1.
Is it so ridiculous that I just want to watch it again right now?
Dune is expertly crafted, and I don't know if sci-fi can get much better than that.
The thing that strikes me about Dune is that it's truly epic. And when I use the word epic, I'm using it in a very specific way, meaning like a David Lean film or to a very large extent like The Lord of the Rings. But when I think of films that have epic events in them, like let's say a Marvel Universe film where whole cities get destroyed and so on, they don't feel epic to me. You seem to have the discipline, the vocabulary of actual epic filmmaking. I wanted more, and so fortunately I think You're doing more, right? You've been greenlit?
Yes.
The world premiere of Dune Part 2 is taking place in London. It's the highly anticipated sequel to the 2021 box office hit movie.
Dune Part 1 was just half of the book. It wasn't clear really in the beginning whether or not, when the first film came out, whether or not they would be greenlit to make the sequel, because it came out at the end of the pandemic. People weren't going back to the cinemas so much, so it wasn't set in stone that they would be coming back with a sequel. It was this visual spectacle by filmmaker Denis Villeneuve, and look, it is so good to have this film back.
Why is he so perfect for this franchise?
Well, it's a book that he read when he was 14, obsessed with, and you see this trajectory of him getting better and better as a filmmaker, and it's just, he's reached a point where he's one of the best directors out there. Denis, it doesn't seem like he has a ceiling.
Reviews are just pouring in, calling it jaw-dropping and the greatest movie ever. People are even comparing it to Empire Strikes Back.
Word of mouth for Dune 2 is already fire. I saw it last week. Oh, it's so good. So good. The movie is indeed epic, showing Timothée Chalamet's versatility as an actor.
I just got out of seeing Dune Part 2. Unbelievable cinematic experience. Timothée Chalamet gives one of the best performances I have ever seen.
Let me just put it this way. This might be the best, Part 2 since Empire Strikes Back. The scale is just epic. It's Denis Villeneuve. I think as far as epic scale goes, he's probably the best director working today, and boy, is this insanity. Everything about this movie is just top notch. I'll even say this is the movie to beat this year, and I'll be shocked if any movie is as good.
If this is not in my top 3 at the end of the year, that means we basically have one of the best years of films ever.
Wow, beautiful science fiction masterpiece. Denis Villeneuve is a freaking magician. This movie should get every single award. This is an accomplishment. This movie is an accomplishment.
Full review embargo for Dune Part 2 lifted today. And as of right now, it is currently holding a 97%. 97%. I just can't remember the last time I've been this excited. I can't remember the last time I've seen this type of positive audience and critical reactions and ratings going into it. A number of people that I know who have seen the film have absolutely lost their minds over it.
Jazz Tankay of Variety posted, Dune Part 2 is a giant epic. Denis Villeneuve has delivered his magnum opus, directing one of the best sci-fi films for generations to come. Emily Murray, also of Total Film, said, arguably Denis Villeneuve's magnum opus, Dune Part 2 is a masterpiece. Just truly remarkable filmmaking. I'm in awe. Carl De Los Santos of Smash Cut Reviews wrote, Dune Part 2 is an Empire Strikes Back or The Return of the King level event. A classic in the making that will probably inspire the next generation of sci-fi and fantasy filmmaking. Denis continues his unblemished filmography.
I gotta hand it to Denis Villeneuve. We all know how great he is. Blade Runner, 2049, Prisoners, Arrival, Sicario, the list goes on. He consistently knocks it out of the f***ing park.
I felt when I was watching this movie, I was in the hands of a master craftsman who knew how much I would love this film. Look, Denis Villeneuve speaks French. The man's a lover. You know what I'm saying? French. Even though I know he's from Montreal, but he's basically a French guy. It's his first language. I get it. Just because he's in Canada doesn't mean he's not a Frenchman at heart. We all know he is. There is a romanticism in Denis Villeneuve's work.
For me, I don't think it's too much to say that, if Dune Part 1 was Star Wars, this to me was very much The Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite of the Star Wars films. And I just think it's an incredibly exciting expansion of all the things you introduced in the first one. I think it's an extraordinary piece of work, and I think people are going to be amazingly excited to see it.
It's February, and we've already got the best blockbuster of the year, Unbeatable. Denis Villeneuve, thank you for existing. You are the king. It's on and on and on. Zendaya was saying, the only bad thing about this movie is that I'll know I'll never be in a movie better than this one for the rest of my career.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
Incredibly honored, I think, to share the stage with such talented people under the helm of Denis Villeneuve, who is clearly, is a genius and a wonderful person to work for and work with.
When I watched the movie, I said, I think this might be the best movie I've ever watched in my life, and people will study this movie for a long, long time, removing myself out of it.
I can't believe that Denis pulled it off. When I saw it, those were only my text messages. I was like, how did you do this? How is this real?
I mean, you got Denis Villeneuve making his masterpiece in a way, you know? It's a privilege to go to the cinema and see a film of this scale that also has all the heart of an independent film.
He's mastered the independent cinema, and now he's doing films on this scale. I mean, he started with Blade Runner, obviously, but in Arrival, but he's been crushing it, yeah.
Work with somebody like Denis Villeneuve, who is a complete and utter inspiration. Recently, I had a FaceTime call from him, and I said, okay, about the movie. And he goes, we're not talking about the movie. We're only talking about friendship. And I think that might be the key to a lot of it.
Did you have a little cry as well when you watched it?
Yeah, sure I did. But I'm not going to admit to that, will I?
Thank you very much, Dean.
Thank you.
Everyone's calling you a genius tonight, mister.
Well, it feels like the end of a big chapter in my life. Finally put on screen that book, and now it's done, and I can go back to Canada with Tanya and sleep.
This film will be the culmination of a journey its director's been on for 30 years. The journey of finally getting to explore his dream genre, the genre at the forefront of his imagination since childhood. Villeneuve intended his Dune to be a coming-of-age story, but maybe in a way this journey is his story too. The wild imagination of his younger self made manifest from Canada to the yellowy deserts of Arrakis. A journey of imagination, creativity, and commitment.
Do you still feel like a Quebec filmmaker? Is that still in these films you're making now?
I think so.
Yeah?
Frankly, my influence are still very French Canadian, very from Quebec. So I'm like, there's something about that I still feel it's in my DNA.
I love that, man. Like, I think I sort of imagined on the way in that you were living in some sort of like Citizen Kane style mansion in the Hollywood Hills or something like that. You know, I love that you're still in Montreal, or like that's still so important to you.
But,
you know?
but Montreal is like, for me, as a filmmaker, it's very important to stay in contact with that vibration. You know, it's like, and every time I go back to Montreal, it's like it's like creative fuel for me. Long live cinema.